India has aggressively increased Russian oil purchases in March 2026. The country bought roughly 30 million barrels of oil from Moscow following West Asia disruptions caused by the US-Iran war. That comes after a temporary US waiver. Indian refiners are importing about 1.8 to 2.2 million barrels per day, making Russia the top supplier again. After a brief dip to a 44-month low in February, Indian refiners bought nearly 30 million barrels within a week in March. According to Kepler data, India's Russian oil imports in February were 32% lower and 1.7% below January levels. But they have since rebounded to around 1.8 million barrels per day and could reach 2 million to 2.2 million barrels per day in March. That is according to Sumit Ritolia, the lead research analyst at ship tracking firm Kepler. Previously, Indian refiners began reducing Russian oil intake from December, with imports in February falling 32% to about 1 million barrels per day, nearly half of last June's peak level. In February, India's oil imports from Iraq rose to two-year highs of 1.18 million barrels per day. Purchases from Saudi Arabia climbed to about 998,000 BPD, the highest since December 2021. The share of West Asia in India's overall oil imports rose to nearly 59%, the highest since August 2022. However, India is again binging on Russian oil after the Iran war broke out on February 28, halting shipments via the Strait of Hormuz. Now, multiple tankers initially destined for China made a U-turn in the South China Sea to travel to India following the sanctions waiver. While Washington has pressed for reduced purchases, the ongoing West Asia conflict has led the US to allow these temporary purchases. As more buyers, including Japan and South Korea, re-enter the market, prices are expected to move upward. Russian oil, which once saw a $40 per barrel discount, now faces reduced discounts, with some deals at $2 to $8 premiums over Brent. Currently, Brent crude is trading well over $100 a barrel.